In Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, one of the main ways to permanently increase your stats is through the artifact system. To completely understand how it works and what you need to do to earn every artifact, we will go through the variables that determine the artifacts you receive after each dungeon. These include the dungeon itself, the dungeon's current cycle, and the amount of bonus points you gain after clearing each dungeon. A few things to keep in mind before we begin. A dungeon cycles 2 years after collecting a drop of myrrh, stopping and staying at cycle 3. You can only have one of each artifact in the game. You can only choose one artifact after each dungeon, requiring multiple playthroughs to obtain all artifacts. And regardless if a dungeon has myrrh or not, you will be able to receive an artifact once you defeat the boss. The first and foremost determining factor for artifacts is the dungeon you choose to run. Each dungeon has a set pool of artifacts that will drop from either chests or enemies. You can find and pick up a total of 4 artifacts that will temporarily increase your stats until the end of the dungeon, and depending on the dungeon's current cycle, the artifact drops found throughout your run will differ. Once defeated, the boss will also drop a set of 4 artifacts or a mix of artifacts and high-level crafting material, adding to the collection to choose from at the end. The boss set drops are also determined by the dungeon cycle, as well as the total amount of bonus points amassed by the player. Bonus points are used both for determining the artifact set dropped by the boss, as well as the turn order in multiplayer when choosing your permanent drop at the end. The amount of bonus points that are gained depends on the amount of enemies you defeat, items, gil, and artifacts picked up, chests opened, and how well you fulfill the bonus condition you receive at the beginning of the dungeon. Fulfilling your bonus condition will be the main source of your points, and it just so happens that they have their own per dungeon calculations. There are 15 different bonus conditions in total. 9 of them start you at 0 points, with you gaining points by performing the action required. The other 6 start you at 100, with you losing points if you perform the action listed. Obviously, some conditions are better to have than others, but unfortunately it is completely random which one you receive. This table details the amount of points gained or lost when performing the action listed per dungeon. Note that even if you do have a condition like don't heal yourself, you can still be healed by others in multiplayer. If you're playing in single player, however, you're out of luck. Mog has completely forgotten how to cast Cure. Seems a bit complicated, right? Well, let's do a quick run of the first dungeon as an example, just in case. This is Cycle 1 of Riverbell Path. The first thing you want to notice is your bonus condition. We got Inflict Damage, which is one of the easier conditions to fulfill. Note that this is just from the GameCube version. The remaster has the bonus in plain sight as you play. Since we are on Cycle 1, we can look at the artifact table in the player's guide for what we're able to find. This guide will show you where, when, and what you can obtain the artifacts from. And with that out of the way, you simply need to complete the dungeon as normal, killing every enemy and picking up every item along the way. Once the boss is defeated, we get to our end screen. I was able to get 134 points this run, landing me in the set 3 row of Cycle 1. Looking at the table, you'll see that some artifacts don't show up anymore in the Cycle 2 and 3 boss set. Luckily, there are no missable artifacts. You can simply find any you may initially miss as drops from enemies or chests in this dungeon or other dungeons, or even included in other boss artifact sets. Going back to the artifacts, the 4-piece boss set has been added to the others I picked up in the dungeon, and notice that the Moogle pockets are darkened since I already have one on this character. And once you select the artifact you want, you're good to go. Hopefully this guide helped you understand the artifact system in Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and if we're lucky, Square Enix will provide a better in-game explanation of the system entirely. In any case, the Discord is always available for you to ask questions. I've also linked the old GameCube player's guide in the description for access to artifact pools for each dungeon. And of course, feel free to leave any questions in the comments below and I'll do my best to help. Thanks for watching.